Alright, welcome to E.S.C conditioning. Today what we're going to talk about is shoulder mobility. Alright, for those of you athletes who maybe had a previous injury, whether it be a rotator cuff or clavicle or whatever it may be, or you just want to increase your range of motion through your shoulder, whether it's for baseball, pitching, a lot of throwing sports require a lot of good shoulder mobility. So these are a couple of really good exercises to help keep your shoulders mobile in all planes, in all directions, in all aspects. Alright, so the very first one we're going to work on is going to be internal and external rotation. Okay, really working on these muscles in the front and the back of our shoulder that control that rotation of our shoulder joint done in overhead throwing positions. Alright, so the very first thing we're going to do, very simple, is I'm going to raise my elbows up. And I want to make sure that from elbow to elbow, straight across, I have a nice straight line. So if I was to take a bar and put it right through the back of my back, through my elbow, the back of my arm, all the way through my shoulders across, that bar keeps me nice and straight right there. Alright, so once I get that position, I want to make sure that I've got a nice 90-degree angle right here and another 90-degree angle right here. So I got everything locked up in perfect position. Alright, just like this. Now from here, keeping that same position of my elbows, that rod going all the way through, I'm going to rotate my palms down as far as I can, and then back up. As you'll notice, I'm kind of limited in my internal rotation here as I bring my palms down. That's where I feel the stretch most, right here in the front of my shoulder as I rotate this down and then back up. When you rotate it back up, you're feeling that external rotator. Just really warming up those shoulders, working on that range of motion. Alright, so you'll do just about 10 reps, back and forth, right there. Alright, the next exercise we're going to do now is really going to focus on stretching out our lats, okay, right here, and our thoracic spine. Everything that's involved in our shoulders and our upper back right here. Alright, so everything, really getting that upper back nice and loose and getting those lats nice and loose, which once again allows for good overhead mobility of our hands. When our hands come up around here, this is what this lat stretching gives us, that good rotation over our body right there. And same thing with our thoracic spine, alright? Really having that, being able to rotate that hand around the back requires good thoracic spine mobility. So here's a good exercise we're going to do to work on both of those. First thing I'm going to do is I need to position myself flat against a wall. The farther I can get my spine, my lower back, my lumbar spine, up against that wall, the better off I'm going to be, the more I'm going to feel it. So I'm just going to relax and sit right up against that wall, try to get my whole spine perfectly flat up against that wall, arch your back. You may feel your lower back come away from the wall just a little bit. That's alright. Just make sure that your shoulders and your butt are planted firm against that wall. From there, once again, I'm going to start my arms in that internal external rotation we talked about. But from here, instead of rotating, I'm going to stretch up and down in a vertical motion instead of that rotational plane. So I'm going to go fingertips to the sky, all the way up, and then all the way back down. Notice how I'm trying to keep a nice straight line. I'm not bringing my hands in here, and I'm not bringing them out. I'm trying to drive my fingertips straight up. Now, there's a little secret to this. While we do this, you have to make sure that the back of your shoulder, the back of your elbow, and the back of your hand, all 3 points have to be smooth up against this wall the whole time. That's what makes it difficult. So when I'm up against this wall, I've got my shoulders back, I've got my elbows back, and I've got my wrists back. And I'm pressing all those against that wall as hard as I can as I drive up and back down. If you're doing this right, you're going to feel this all the way down your upper back, all the way down that thoracic spine, and into your lats even a little bit as you stretch your hands above your head there. Alright, so that's another great one. Once again, now we're working on towards the middle, instead of working the outside of our shoulders like we did on that internal external rotator. Now we're kind of moving to the middle of our back and working on that thoracic spine. Okay, for our third and final exercise here, we're going to continue working on our lats, as we started to touch on just a little bit in the last one. We're going to continue to work on those lats, but now we're also going to shift more to the front and even work on some of those chest muscles that connect to our shoulder right there. It really helps stretch out some of the pectoralis minor and some of those upper chest muscles that are important with connecting to the shoulder and creating a good fluid throwing motion and good shoulder mobility overall. Okay, so what we're going to do here, and you can do this at home with a book or anything heavy. You just got to find a heavy object, a big book or anything, or you can even have a partner or your parents or whoever holds your knee down. It really doesn't matter. Okay, all you're going to do from here is your bottom leg is going to lay straight. My top leg is going to go over the top, and I'm going to bend it at a 90-degree angle, right at my knee. I got a 90-degree angle at my knee, and I have a 90-degree angle at my hip. So my top leg is bent, my bottom leg is straight. From there, I'm going to put this weight right on that top leg so that I keep that, I want this knee, this top knee, I want that on the ground the whole time. I do not want it coming up, and you'll see why here in a minute. Then, I'm going to take my arm that's closest to the ground, this would be my right arm, and I'm going to straighten it out, fingertips straight out, right above my head, right here. My left hand, my top hand, is going to go right behind my head, just like this. From here, I'm going to take my elbow, and I'm going to stretch it as far as I can to the ground. As you do this, you're going to feel that inside leg's kind of wanting to come up. That's why we need that weight on there to help kind of stabilize. We're really working on that thoracic spine mobility once again. Getting a good stretch in there. Stretching out our chest a little bit here as we pull back. All right, we'll do about 5 of those. And then once you're done, the tricky part now is I'm going to take my palm and it's going to go palm down right at my hip. From here, from here, I'm going to take my hand and rotate it behind me, keeping it as low to the ground as I can. And notice as I rotate it, back, my arm is also rotating palm up as I go around, bicep all the way up to my ear, and then back down as I get about halfway, start to rotate palm down. So it goes from palm down to palm up to my ear. And then reverse. You do about 5 of those, and then you switch sides. So real quick, just getting it from a side view here. If you can see, I've got my top leg bent, hand right out the front here, or above your head. Either way is good, whatever's comfortable. One hand behind my head, I'm stretching back, and then forward. I'm stretching back as far as I can, and then forward. Then palm down, rotating, and back through. Right there on each side. Alright, so all 3 of those exercises are really hammering everything front to back, top to bottom on our shoulder. We're getting our internal rotators, we're getting our thoracic spine, okay, we're getting our external rotators, we're getting our latissimus dorsi, along with a lot of other, our scapula and everything is working in there. We're getting a lot of muscle development and muscle mobility throughout all those different exercises.